been in 4-H for 7 years, and today I will be reading an excerpt from Anne of Green Gables. I hope you enjoy. "I suppose you are Mr. Matthew Cuthbert of Green Gables?" she said in a peculiarly clear, sweet voice. "I'm very glad to see you. I was beginning to be afraid you weren't coming for me, and I was imagining all the things that might have happened to prevent you. I had made up my mind that if you didn't come for me tonight, I'd go down the track to that big wild cherry tree at the bend and climb up into it and stay all night, and I wouldn't be a bit afraid. It would be lovely to sleep in a wild cherry tree. Don't you think? You could imagine you were dwelling in marble halls, couldn't you? And I was quite sure you would come for me in the morning, if you didn't tonight." Matthew had taken the scrawny hand in awkwardly in his. Then and there he decided what to do. He could not tell this child with the glowing eyes that there had been a mistake. He would take her home and let Maria do that. She couldn't be left at Bright River anyhow, no matter what mistake had been made. So all questions and explanations might as well be deferred until he was safely back at Green Gables. "I'm sorry I was late," he said shyly. "Come along, the horse is over in the yard. Give me your bag." "Oh, I can carry it," the child responded cheerfully. "It isn't heavy. I've got all my worldly goods in it, but it isn't heavy, and if it isn't carried in just a certain way, the handle pulls out, so I better keep it because I know the exact knack of it. It's an extremely old carpet bag. Oh, I am very glad you've come, even if it would have been nice to sleep in a wild cherry tree. We've got to drive a long piece, haven't we? Miss Spencer said it was 8 miles. I'm glad, because I love driving. Oh, it seems so wonderful that I'm going to live with you and belong with you. I've never belonged to anybody. Not really, but the asylum was the worst. I've only been in 4 months, but that was enough. I don't suppose you were never an orphan in an asylum, so you can't possibly understand what it's like. It's worse than anything you could imagine. Miss Spencer said it was wicked of me to talk like that, but I didn't mean it to be wicked. It is so easy to be wicked without knowing it, isn't it? They were good, you know, the asylum people, but there's so little scope for imagination in an asylum. Only just in the other orphans. It was pretty interesting to imagine things about them, to imagine that perhaps the girl who sat next to you was really the daughter of a belted earl who had been stolen away from her parents in her infancy by a cruel nurse who died before she could confess. I used to lie awake at nights and imagine things like that because I didn't have time in the day. I guess that's why I'm so thin. I am dreadfully thin, ain't I? There isn't a pick on my bones. I do love to imagine I'm nice and plump with dimples in my elbows." With this, Matthew's companion stopped talking, partially because she was out of breath and partially because they had reached the buggy.